Welcome back to the Anxiety Ridden Moms Club, Season 2, baby. We're still anxious, still thriving-ish, and this season, we're diving deep into one of the most complicated, beautiful, and straight-up messy parts of motherhood.
Relationships. The ones that lift us up, the ones that drain us, and the ones that change when motherhood hits like a wrecking ball.
From ride-or-die friendships to awkward playdate moms, from supportive partners to the ones who just don't get it, we're unpacking it all.
Because motherhood doesn't just reshape your body, it reshapes your people. And sometimes you outgrow folks. Sometimes you build a village you never had.
We're talking about boundaries, support systems, love languages, mom guilt, and learning to unapologetically put yourself first.
If your group chat is your therapy, if your toddler is your toxic coworker, or if your idea of date night is hiding in the pantry with snacks, this season is for you.
Let's talk about it. Let's laugh, cry, confess, and build this messy, anxious, loving village together. Welcome to Season 2 of the Anxiety Ridden Moms Club. Welcome back to the Anxiety Ridden Moms Club. I'm Kylie.
And I'm Gina.
Today, we're diving into a topic that has so many layers for moms, especially those of us raising daughters. It's the mother-daughter dynamic.
The good, the hard, the healing, the cycles we try to break, and the connection we want to keep.
So let's start here. I always say my mom is my best friend. She's been my safe space, my biggest cheerleader, and honestly, I call her about 25 times a day.
And that's beautiful. For me, my mom was an amazing mom when I was young. I felt so loved and so cared for. We had the best of times. But as she's gotten older, I just feel like things kind of changed some, especially since my parents don't live near me. And then they live in my basement when they come to visit for 3 months a year. So it's definitely a different situation now. Definitely a shift.
For sure. That's the thing. Our experiences shape how we show up as moms. Whether we're healing from wounds or building on beautiful memories, those patterns carry forward if we don't pay attention.
So let's talk about the phrase we hear all the time, breaking cycles. Sometimes it's trauma. Sometimes it's unhealthy patterns. Sometimes it's just things we wish had been different.
And breaking those cycles doesn't mean cutting off our moms or resenting them. It's about awareness, saying this stops with me, but also how do I keep the love and the connection intact?
Exactly. For example, if your mom never talked about emotions, you might make it a point to check in with your daughter about her feelings. That's breaking a cycle without breaking a bond.
That's probably where, my mom is an amazing human being and she is my best friend. And obviously my teenage years weren't probably the most of fun times for her. And we communicated about important things, but maybe not always as much as we should. And that's something that I'm really working on with Nora. So for me, there's no trauma there. There's no big black holes that I don't want to talk about or anything of that. I think you've said in previous episode at some point, you just said, I guess, again, for me, it's not breaking cycles. There's no trauma there, but it's taking the best of my mom and building on that and giving it to my daughter. So hopefully she can do the same. She can take the best of me, leave the crazy parts, but take the best of me and keep building on that. So for me, it's not, again, no trauma, but it's building and building and building to be the best moms that we can possibly be.
Yes, I agree with that. Well, I think ultimately we would want our daughters to be better than us for sure anyways. So you hope that I even tell my kids anyways, they should be looking at us as parents and they should definitely take what they thought was very positive and anything that they think they need to tweak it. I mean, everything I hope for our in our lives, we grow and evolve. And I definitely think with our daughters, anything that was negative or maybe not talked about enough needs to be talked about so that they feel more secure and not as anxiety ridden as maybe
there you go.
Our group has gone through, but like to make sure that they are better off and more secure and stable within themselves.
And raising daughters, it brings up all kinds of emotions because you're not just parenting, you're also reparenting yourself.
That is true.
Oh my God, that is true.
When your daughter hits an age where something painful happened to you, it can trigger those memories too. So, and And that's when we have a choice. You can we can either repeat that pattern or you rewrite it.
That rewriting is work. It's the emotional pull of motherhood where we're constantly balancing healing ourselves with guiding our children. And it's so hard because there's so many times I want to be like, oh my God, this isn't going to matter. This isn't going to matter in probably 5 minutes, but it's certainly not going to matter tomorrow. And it's certainly not going to matter 2 months up the road. Like, but she's, you know, with Nora, like, again, she gets her emotional side from her mama. And a little hot-headed from her dad. So she is like a force to be reckoned with for real. She cares a lot what people think. She is very up in her emotions. And hello, she got it from me. But obviously, I've grown and I'm learning every single day. And that's when I want to just say, oh my God, kid, this isn't going to matter. Like, don't put that much weight on this. It's not going to matter. But it really, she looks like me. She acts like me. And she is so fucking frustrating like me.
Well, and I think that's why also we got to work on ourselves so that we are able and capable to help them. Because some of the things that they're going to go through is going to be things that we went through. So how do we help them navigate through those things and not have to maybe be such a wreck? Like maybe how it affected us poorly. And for my daughter, she actually acts like my husband. So in some ways, I think it's kind of what's helps me a little bit because I'm attracted to my husband. I like my husband. So I like his personality. So her and I kind of like, I feel like we mesh really well because she's him. Some of that's not all good because then she's a very, says what she wants to say and she could care less what you think of that. Like she's just very blunt and to the point. But it also, I think helps that's why when I've had those conversations about, you know, friendships, you know, boys, whatever's going on, that I try to help her navigate through it. And as I know how it felt for me going through it and it was hard and, you know, I had different hard times. And I could talk to my mom. I should say this. My mom talked to me about a lot of different things. I don't know that I always felt like I was going to go knock on my mom's door and say, hey, you know, this or that happened, or this boy was, you know, this way, or this girl made me feel uncomfortable. I don't feel like we talked about that so much. So that's one of the things I definitely have worked on to talk to my daughter about, you know, just navigating through.
That's a very good way to put it. I feel like that's exactly right. Like, and not that my mom ever made me feel uncomfortable that I couldn't. I just didn't.
My mom didn't either.
I just didn't.
Yes. I don't know that anybody that I knew really did though.
Maybe it's a generational thing.
Yeah. Like, I think that's the thing is I think that, because honest to God, I don't even think I can think of, maybe one girl that I think I knew would be like, I tell my mom everything. But like almost everybody else was like, oh my God, I never tell my mom that. You know what I mean?
I'm going to get off on a tangent here. Did you watch Unlisted Number on Netflix?
Yeah. Oh, my daughter's the one to tell me, oh my God, you got to watch the show. If you're willing to watch it, I'm going to watch it with you. And so we sat down and watched it. What an insane story.
As we're talking about mothers and daughters, like that's just what popped into my head.
And if you haven't watched it, you need to watch it because it is an insane story that I can't even fathom.
It was funny because I think, it's all over social media. And I think that Nora actually saw it on social media. So I started watching it and she's like, I want to watch it too. And then it got raunchy and I was like, oh my God, cover your ears. Like, what is happening?
Yeah, it was bad.
It was so bad. So yeah, if you haven't watched it,
it's a must.
It's one of those things my mom and I talked about. Like somebody said, like, let your daughter heal, but now you're on Netflix, like making money. And I was like, well, if you watch the documentary, you would see that they didn't have any damn money because she lied about going to work. So maybe this will help her daughter, but I agree, like give your daughter time to heal, but insane. And I think now let's kind of back it up. I think that I don't condone it. I think it was psychotic and I think this lady shouldn't have a platform. That bothers me that she has a platform. But it is what it is. I think that it is some type, it's got to be like is it Munchausen's or
okay, so
something
here
like that?
I'm going to ask you this. Do you think that she should, well, I don't know. I guess if I ask this question, it's kind of can somewhat ruin a little bit of what goes. I don't want to ruin the episode.
Which is funny that you say that because Brad, it caught his attention a little bit. And so he was like kind of in and out. And so then he kind of missed the climax of the whole thing. And he was like, so who did it? And I told him, and he was like, no way. And I was like, for real. And he didn't believe it. So we don't want to ruin it.
Right. But it's
okay. So here's the deal. If you haven't watched it, stop listening right now.
Yes. And
watch it. And then you can finish the episode. So we're not going to, this is your chance to get off of the episode, our podcast, go watch this, and then you can come back and finish our
so that way podcast. We're not ruining anything. Okay. Yeah. Now, I'm assuming all of you have watched the show before you're listening, or you have no intention to do so. It doesn't matter. I want to know your opinion of, do you think that the mom should have gone to jail? Is that what you think should have happened?
Or the psych ward?
That's where I think she should have gone. This is my opinion. Okay, so this is just my opinion. Wait.
Let's back it up for a second. Do you think the mom was the sole texter in the whole scheme? So she says that it started with someone else. She said
and I don't think that's true.
Okay. I really wanted to know your opinion. I asked my mom too. My mom's like, no, it was her the whole time. And I said, yes, but someone did point out that the text messages in the beginning weren't disgusting. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, they were raunchy text messages.
But I don't know how she even got to that point. There's so many variables in this whole thing. And I guess I feel like, I think she had to have done it the whole time. Do I think there could be a possibility that somebody else did it in the beginning? Yes, there's a possibility. I mean, kids are, especially behind a screen or phone, that's how you can be mean, right? It's so easy to be mean on a tablet or something compared to being mean to somebody's face.
Did you say kids? Because hello, adults.
No. I'm talking about the kids though. Like, in my opinion, if it was somebody else that started, like what she says, what she claims, I think that's somebody that would have been in high school with her. So yes, kids is a possibility. Well, of course it's a possibility. I don't think it's probably what happened, but I really look at it as, it's not something that they were proved for sure in the beginning in comparison to the later ones. So, I mean, I don't know, but I think she did the whole thing. But I feel like she had to have had, like, she has a mental illness. Like, she just has a mental illness. And that's why I guess I'm asking, like, do you think she should go to jail? And the reason is you don't get any help going to jail. And this is a person where she needs help. And I almost think that she should have had to go to a more of a psych ward kind of place, for mental illness, for longer than she went to prison. Like, she went to prison, I think, like a year and a half or something. I think she should have been in like a mental institution for like at least double that.
Do you get therapy?
And then I think
jail?
They should have sat and like gone through a very thorough therapeutic scenario. And I'm not talking about some mental illness place where she's like, dancing in the room in like some group activities thing. I'm talking about like one that literally is, I just think that prison, I don't know where she probably gained anything from any of that. And maybe I'm sure they have some sort of maybe therapy, but it is not the same as if she went to a mental institution. And there's no doubt that there's something that's just that you have to have a mental illness to do what she did. I mean, I don't know how you could, this girl that you invested all your life in, that's your daughter, that I actually, in my personal opinion, I think she got jealous of her daughter.
Mm-hmm, that's what I was going to,
it's all a jealousy thing over it. And then I think
or the boyfriend, like she
definitely had a thing. I think she like kind of like almost entered into high school through her brain. Like, this is a guy she wishes she was dating. And then, so now you're jealous of your girl. Yeah, that's what I think. I think because I think she's got a mental illness.
And mine went more like the Munchausen's route, where it's like, she didn't, like, her daughter was spending time with someone else. She wanted that time. She wanted the attention.
Okay, but then why'd she go after the boyfriend's next girlfriend? That's why I think that, if she
I was working on content too when I was watching, so I probably missed some things.
Yeah, see, when she did that is when she made me feel like there's a part of that. There's something about him though, that she is like, even when his mom said something about that she was always doing for him, or just like she would cut his steak. I even asked my daughter this.
That's fucking weird. That was weird.
It's weird. I asked my daughter, I said, so if you got a boyfriend and I just, cut his steak? And she goes, well, I mean, if you cut mine, I mean, I guess I wouldn't think it was weird.
You're cutting everyone's steak.
She goes, but if you didn't cut anybody's steak and you cut his, yeah, I'm going to think you're a weirdo.
Like we go to breakfast on Sunday mornings. I cut Nora's Mickey Mouse pancake. Like slide that over here. I'll cut your like that.
That's just weird. So, I mean, I do think that she has some, I think on one hand that could have some of that Munchausen's where it's like she wants all the attention from her daughter, but then she got too weird with him and it got so blown up there. I'm like, there's more, I don't know. And then like not telling your husband that you have a job. She has way more problems than just a Munchausen's thing. I just think it's bigger than that because there's more going on in her life than just stuff for her daughter. And then the part that just blew me was when they were talking to her when she came out and her excuses that she had, which just kind of honestly turned my stomach. But the one lady that's like interviewing her says, so do you think that possibly when you were talking about her and being thin and having a flat ass, that you were really just talking about yourself? Yeah, I think that's what it was. I was really talking about me. You saw how thin I was, didn't you? It's this lady crazy. And who's interviewing, asking that question and saying, here, I'm going to spoon feed you what you should be saying. Like that was ridiculous.
And how do you feel about her having a platform now?
I think it's ridiculous.
Why did they have to like,
I mean, if all the money goes to her daughter, I mean, I'm all about that, but she gets a nickel on anything. She shouldn't. I don't care really if she's on there because, I mean, all we're doing is exposing the fact that there's people with problems in our world that need to be helped. But I think at the same time, she shouldn't benefit off of this platform. I feel really sorry for her daughter, though, because I think the other thing was it was kind of hard to understand a little bit where they had her sitting in her bedroom on her bed and she was saying, I still want to have a relationship with my mom and all these kinds of things. But then like towards another part of it, they showed her in a gray sweatshirt where she kind of acted like it's going to take time to have that relationship with her mom. You know what I mean? So I don't really know. In some ways, I feel like they skewed the truth. Like, I don't know what this girl really thinks. But I feel sorry for her because you can definitely tell she was a very involved mom who did a lot with her. So it had to have been a huge loss and just turmoil. Talk about trauma to go through that your mom would do something like that to you. I don't know. I just feel horrible for her. So even if she wants to have a relationship with her mom, I think that that's personal to everybody. Some people, it's not going to cause them problems. I just think as long as somebody hopefully she's been in therapy and has helped to have a relationship with her mom appropriately to understand her mom has obviously been manipulative. She's a manipulative personality for sure. Obviously, when she's pretending to go to work every day. You have no problem manipulating people.
Was it her sister-in-law that was like her type of personality? She's the type of personality that if like she was here now and you're talking to me like in this interview that she would be over there dancing and carrying on to like draw the attention over to her. And that was interesting to me. She's definitely mentally freaking unstable and that she's just
and that's why I think,
about.
And that's the whole thing I think that 1.5 years in jail, I don't really know how it's helped her. I don't think that this woman is out sitting around plotting the next, how she's going to, murder people. Right. So like, I think that there's a way to put her back in, but I think that there should have been a definite, like long drawn out way to help somebody like mentally to do that. I mean, I don't think she should be able to have relationships with her daughter unless there is therapy all involved and everything. I mean, I think that there should be tons of guidelines to a lot of stuff to help her to have that. I mean, if we're going to take the scenario, which is just mind boggling to me anyways, I mean, at least if we're going to just put her in jail for 1.5 years and then throw her back out and cross our fingers, I don't know. I mean, you hope it never happens again or she doesn't manipulate her daughter again in another way or, you know what I mean? That's a lot of healing people have to go through.
There wasn't a ton of remorse either, which was strange to me.
No, she said if everybody's done something illegal, so whatever.
Yeah.
I was like,
at some point in time, everybody has done something that they're not proud of. Like you tortured your own child. Like, call me crazy. I'm crazy too and probably need a mental institute. But like, I guess for me, if someone was like bullying her daughter and this was her way of like revenging that, or like you were doing it to your flesh and blood, to your child. You were telling your child disgusting things, calling her disgusting names, and you have zero freaking remorse. Jail, you either weren't there long enough or I'm with you. It should have been the freaking psych ward. Like,
because I just don't think that I don't think it's helped anything. I don't think it's done anything. Honest to God, I think we've just simply smacked her and said, don't do that again. But if you have a mental illness, she might do something. It may be kind of different. I mean, it might not be the exact same thing, but I mean, she definitely has the abilities to manipulate or cause other things, cause other things to be a problem. I mean, her husband was devastated through the whole thing too. I mean, I have to tell you though, I give that man a ton of credit when he said, you are going to need to leave this home before you or I both end up in jail. And it's very ugly.
That's exactly what I told my mom.
And I was like, that was a very, very, I just give him a lot of credit for that, because it could have just been somebody just acting nuts and getting mad. And by all means, I can completely understand that. But I think he did the right thing. You
need to get out of here. We're both going to end up in jail.
And I also think it was respectful to his daughter to do that, because his daughter is just had the person who has been by her side constantly doing everything with all these sports that she's heavily into, ripped out of her life, and found out that her mom was the one manipulating her.
Unfathomable to be sitting there and knowing that your mom is the one who's been torturing you all of this time. And that's what a terrible thing you have to go through. Like this woman that is supposed to protect you. That is our job. That is our number one job, is to protect these kids. It's not to be their friend. It's to protect them and and you failed. You were the one harming her. I cannot wrap my head around the insanity of that story.
No. And I think if she would have at least even had a better discussion with the interviewer, whom I have a problem with the interviewer, like I told you, that she would have had a better...
You feel bad. You feel bad, don't you? You feel bad about what you did? Tell me you feel bad about what you did.
Right.
Katie.
Here, I'm going to write you a paper. Could you just read this? This would sound a lot better for you. I just think that it would have been... I just think everything she said to me made it just show that prison time was not what was really probably what she needed. She needed to be punished, but I think it should have been in a different way. Because honestly, I think if you were told you have to be a mental institution, but for more years, you know what I mean? It's like she needs therapy not for a year and a half, and not just I just don't think it did anything. It's kind of sad.
The guy of the daughter that got blamed for it.
Yeah.
He was the one that really got a little huffy puffy and was like, what? And props to him, because and to control yourself in that situation too, and not kill the lady. Like, you tortured my daughter, and my daughter, God only knows the therapy that she'll need, because everyone accused her of it for so long.
Which I will say, at the end of the day, hopefully it's a lesson even for their daughter, because their daughter went through some of the trauma from that, but she obviously was painted for sure that she was the mean girl in school. So hopefully through this, everybody grows. You know what I mean? And realizes, like, even her being mean to people, like, stop doing that. Like, just stop doing that. Like, nobody should be ignorant to anybody. And I think that also comes from us as moms, passing that down to our children and making sure that our daughters are happy, healthy, secure people who bring good things to others.
We're raising good humans.
Yeah.
So again, Unlisted on Netflix. If you stuck around, you haven't seen it yet, that'll put all of the pieces of this puzzle together. But here we are, giving this lady some more platform to talk about. So we got to move on. We've got to move on from it for sure.
Right.
And, if you're listening and you've had a complicated relationship with your mom, just know you can hold both gratitude and grief, love and boundaries. It doesn't have to be one or the other.
And if you're raising daughters, remember, every small act of love and consistency is breaking cycles in its own way. So don't underestimate the power of showing up gently, even when you're tired, even when you're learning as you go. Okay, so what is one of the things maybe that you feel you have really done differently, maybe than your mom, to help your relationship with your daughter that maybe is different from something your mom and you have done? Because it's coming from, I know you guys have a good relationship. So what are you striving to do to make it that you feel like there was something else that you wish was done? Or
I think we touched on it a little bit, and it's just the communication both ways. And it's so freaking hard, because I'm not here to be her friend. I'm not here. And that's, I don't know. Not that I was ever scared to talk to my mom. We just didn't. So we didn't talk about boyfriends. We didn't talk about, when you talked about your son saying, like, I'm going to go TPing tonight. Like,
right.
We didn't have those conversations. I went and did whatever and hoped she didn't find out. Like that was how it was.
Yes.
And so I really am trying to have more open conversations with Nora. And it's not because of anything that my mom did wrong by any means. It's because the direction that the world has went, and the world is a much scarier place than it was. Now, all moms worry. Moms since the beginning of time have had to worry. Yep. I'm not saying that, but I do feel like the level of danger has increased a little bit. Like,
well, and the access to our kids is different.
Yeah. I mean,
for danger.
We were like 16 years old, and I still don't know if her parents know at this time, but they drove like a big green, like bus van, like ginormous van. We were like 16, 17, and we drove that mofo to Soulard on Mardi Gras at 16 years old. Driving down a one-way road the wrong freaking way, like in Soulard in St. Louis. As an adult at 36 years old, I wouldn't go to Soulard on Mardi Gras in fear of being shot, but I was there at 16. So like the way of the world, I feel like has escalated or changed as far as danger. So again, it's not for me breaking cycles. It's nothing that, my mom did or didn't do. It is that the world has changed, and I need to make sure that my child feels comfortable talking to me about everything, because it's scary. Drugs are on stickers handed out at school. People are getting shot in St. Louis every single day. We would go to the gallery and run around, or back in the day, it was Jamestown Mall. Like, you as an adult just told me that you wouldn't feel comfortable at Jamestown Mall right now. Like, that shit is scary to me. Yep. And so I just want to make sure, and I know I use it as a joke. One of my, from the last episode when we talked about friends that aren't friends anymore, I will never forget it. And I really thought this person and I were like, yes, we met through our job. We hung out every other weekend when I didn't have the kids, like as couples, the whole 9 yards, whatever. We had to go to Las Vegas the week of the Super Bowl in Las Vegas for work. And my VP at the time, I think she helped the case. She helped the cause, but I think he let me take her out of because he knew we would have fun. You know what I'm saying? Like, whatever, it wouldn't be so terrible. But in Las Vegas, helping with an acquisition the week the Super Bowl was in Las Vegas, and life was crazy. And we were in our hotel, but you know how every hotel is, whatever. And this guy is asking her 20 questions about where she's from, where we're from, if we're staying here, like and finally I'm like, my God, are you going to invite him up to the room? We are going to be in a shipping container in 10 minutes. Yeah. And we are grown ass adults. Like, this woman is 50 something. Right. And is telling this guy that we're here by ourselves. It's just us two, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, for fuck's sake, stop writing him a
book of what's going on.
Of us being here. What are you doing? I'm like, we are going to be in a shipping container. Right. And I think that is my biggest freaking concern for my daughter. And I want that communication to be there. And I want her to be able to tell me things. And I want her to be able to tell me when she's scared, or if she gets in a situation that she's uncomfortable with, whether that's somebody online, whatever the case may be. I want her to know that she can come to me with absolutely anything and everything, and that we will be there together, and I will support her. And I've told her, I might pop off. I might tell you that was a bad freaking decision, and I might be really disappointed, but like, you telling me up front will be much, much better than me losing you. And that's the freaking reality, is that sex trafficking is very freaking real. Yep. Same. And I am so, just talking about these little bits and pieces, I'm so glad to have moved on from that job. We were in Tampa for a training, and it was another area manager at the time was taking an Uber from the airport to the conference center that we were staying at. And luckily, Uber will tell you, it will alert your phone if the Uber driver goes off route. And so he was on the phone talking in a foreign language, and his Uber went off route. And she ended up calling. Well, she was on the phone with her husband, and he's like, call call the police.
Yeah.
And he ended up taking her where she needed to go and being off. But like, that is a grown ass woman getting sex trafficked in Tampa, Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Like that is the reality. And it is such a scary place that we live in. So I want to be aware. I want to be very communicative. And I just pray to God every single night that nothing bad happens to these kids.
And I think that's why it's hard because it's, you want to be, you almost have to be lenient enough to let them go and make their own mistakes and do their own things. And then yet
with an air tag in their shoe.
Right? I mean, that's what's the truth. I mean, it's like, like Kylie knows that I can look her up at any given moment. And when she's out doing stuff or whatever, I do every so often check and just see where she's at. And then I usually shoot her a text or something, just say, oh, hey, what you doing? Or, oh, you guys still at Target or whatever. I try not to be that I'm invasive, like in the manner of being like, well, what are you doing there? Well, why are you doing this? Well, what about this? I try to do it more of just kind of conversational so that she doesn't feel like I'm down her throat. And then just really is like every so often, forgets her phone. Cause I will tell you, that's what a lot of the girls do. Well, I mean, oh, whoops, I forgot to bring my phone with us when we went out. I definitely hear that's what goes on. And so for her, she's never done that. I mean, she always has her phone, but I've also never, ever been like, why aren't you talking to me right now? Why aren't you doing it? You know what I mean? I had one time that I went into panic mode because she did not tell me they left from one place and went to the other. And she's so good about always saying, okay, we're going from here, we're going to there. And if it's just real close stuff, she won't because she knows I'll just look her up. But if she's really going to somewhere different, she would tell me. And she ended up at somebody's house I did not know or anything. And I'm texting her, calling her phone. And then I'm like, okay, I started to I felt this pit in my stomach. Like, okay, kid, like this is a kid who always messages me. And I'm like, okay, if I tell my husband, he'll really make me feel like super nuts. You know what I mean? Like he will get my anxiety going through the roof. So I'm like, I'm going to keep trying. Then I finally get to the point I'm like, okay, I hate to do this, but I text one of the moms. I'm like, hey, have you talked to your daughter? I can't get a hold of my daughter on her phone. Could you get a hold of yours? And I'm waiting and waiting. She hadn't responded. I'm like, okay, I'm going to get sick, Finally, all of a sudden, Kylie messages me and she's like, hey, I'm so sorry. I'm over at so-and-so's. This is where we're at. We were just swimming. And I'm like, okay, you're going to stroke me out. And I'm like, you're at somebody's house that you didn't tell me you're going to. I don't care that you're there. I'm like, I don't care where you're going, but you do have to tell me. I'm like, as long as you tell me, I don't care. But I have just sat here and about shit my pants 3 times over and I don't know where, and I don't know who you're with or what you're doing. And she's like, okay, it's this, it's that, blah, blah, blah. This is what we're doing next. And she went down the whole thing. And she's like, I'm really sorry. I didn't, which is fine. But I think that's the hard part. It's that balance of like not being intrusive, not being also too much of your friend, because I'm not your friend. I am your mom. But so you do have an obligation to make sure you're checking in with me. But I also try to do it in a respectful way. You know what I mean? I think it definitely is a balance. And then I'm like you. My mom didn't know where I was at half the time. Sorry, Mom, but you didn't. And I was like doing, plenty of things I probably shouldn't have been doing. But I tried to do. I was never really in trouble. So I understand kids are going to be kids and do. Oh, I was in trouble.
I was in trouble.
I never got in trouble. I got lucky with my innocent face because I had many times that usually I had police officers even say, "Don't worry, honey, I'm not worried about you." And then they would pass me up and go to something, and I should be in trouble just like all the rest of them.
I'll never forget.
I didn't get in trouble.
I'll never forget the night my dad picked me up. I apparently had a thing with Mardi Gras. Like I loved to party on Mardi Gras. My dad picked me up from a stranger's house. 4:00 in the morning. He's like, oh, you went to party all night? We're going to party, but you might want to get those juju beads off before your mom gets a hold of you. Like core memories for me. Core memories. And why did I always party on Mardi Gras? Who knew? I don't know. I don't know. Apparently. Yeah.
But I do think times were, I don't know. It's just, we don't have the technology to get to have gotten a hold of people and we didn't have stuff like Uber. I mean, if I was getting a ride, I knew the person giving me a ride home.
That's what I was going to say. How sad is it, the world that we're living in, that we have to be.
It's crazy. And that's why, honestly, God, I've always told my kids, I mean, my husband is a designated driver for my adult children and he is perfectly happy with it. And which actually is kind of fun because now that they're older, he laughs at them being idiots when they're drunk and you know what I mean? And doing stuff. So he'll be like, I'll pick you up. I don't care what time. And then he'll go get him and then he'll come home and he'll be laughing, telling me, like my daughter-in-law, I guess, was super drunk one of the times. And she had ended up when she got out of the car was throwing up and all this stuff. And he still talks about it to her and she's laughing. And so, I mean, it's fun when you can get to that point where now we can really not care anyways. We know you're adults. But we also we're still kind of helping them control their situation by being a designated driver. I don't want them Ubering as adults even. Like, I'd rather be your DD. So, and eventually, you know, I just want to be that for all my kids and help them.
Never do it alone.
Uber, I've been in Ubers a couple times, and I'm not kidding you. There was either the ride to the place or back, one or the other was uncomfortable. And it was like, I really don't like this at all. I don't like it at all.
Just don't do it alone. I did that time though. That time with that other manager, I had a come apart, and I let the company know that I was not happy because it had happened like the week before we were there. And so then another batch of us came in and they didn't even mention it. And I'm like, someone was almost kidnapped a week ago, and you didn't at least throw out a disclaimer that said, by the way, don't Uber alone. Mm-hmm. Hook up flights with someone, stay at the airport until someone else gets there, but do not Uber. You don't have, and that tells the kind of company that it is, that they didn't have the common decency to tell us not to Uber alone, that someone was almost sex trafficked 5 days ago. And that person was traumatized. Mm-hmm. Can you freaking imagine? Mm-hmm. Shout out to Uber for having the notification that if they go off route, like those are things that I'm from a small town USA. I freaking know that they would go off route and try to kidnap you. Mm-hmm. They'd probably try to bring me back.
Well, one thing I do like that Uber put on there too is like, I always, if I've gotten anyone, send it to my husband so he can track and watch me the whole time. So he knows the car, the license plate, and he can watch the whole time that I'm going somewhere. Cause I mean, anything can happen anywhere. And I understand that some people use Uber a lot and it's been a great experiences. And there's a lot of people that are out there that are drivers for Uber and they're wonderful, but it's just a scarier world that we live in. And the scenario of technology has made it more and more that way. And so it's harder especially with daughters, the fears that we can have. It's just kind of scary, It
is.
But we got to definitely partner together as moms to help empower our daughters to think, use their brain, and feel confident that they can talk to us.
For sure. Today's conversation was tender, but so needed. The mother-daughter dynamic is a lifelong journey, not just a season.
And we hope it reminds you that healing is possible, connection is possible, and you're not alone in figuring it all out.
If this episode spoke to you, share it with a friend, maybe even your mom or daughter. And don't forget, mine, they're regulated. They know Wednesday night it drops and you better have it downloaded. Let me tell you. But don't forget, you can catch up on all of our episodes on Apple Podcast or Spotify or YouTube.
Until next time, take a deep breath, give yourself some grace, and remember, peace is possible. If no one's told you lately, let me be the one to say it. You're not failing, you're growing. You're not broken, you're becoming, and you're doing better than you think.
Thanks for being here today. If this episode resonated with you, I'd love if you'd subscribe, leave a review, or share it with another mom who might need to hear this. You can also connect with us on Facebook or TikTok at the ARMC. We'd love to hear your story.
Until next time, give yourself grace, breathe deep, and remember, peace is possible.